Hey everyone, Internet PCS book reader here. If you hear drums in the video, it's because there's someone playing drums, I guess. But anyway, today I want to talk about Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. We are introduced to our two main leads, Aldo and Regan. These two cannot be more polar opposite just from their introduction. Aldo has his own daily ritual from sitting in the park, taking a phone call from his father, and taking his time doing all of those. Meanwhile, Regan woke up late, countless thoughts are going through her head, and every second means every seconds are lost. Just from the introduction, if Aldo represents order, then Regan represents chaos. They can be more polar opposite if they try. Regan loves spontaneity and excitement, she's an extrovert, while Aldo prefers solitude and constant as an introvert. Regan had a boyfriend and a family who she did not contact, and Aldo is single and his busy dad calls him every day. She's a counterfeit art theft, he's a specific kind of mad dude. She doesn't know how to be herself, he doesn't know how to express himself. The story takes its time to introduce the characters while alternating between Aldo's perspective and Regan's perspective. Before they met, Aldo is a genius who's a bit on the neurodivergent spectrum. He's a teacher in math that somehow got his job in a university by working in his PhD. But because he's hinted to be on the spectrum, he's not the best at communicating, and you kinda need to be a good communicator in order to teach well in class. So just by default, most of his students hate him. Meanwhile, Regan is a docent, someone who gives tour in an art museum, explaining the art that is displayed in the museum to people who sign up for it. And just like Aldo stuck with his student that hates him, Regan is stuck with a boyfriend whose whole thing is reminding her how much she needs him in her life. There are some parts that might feel a bit too long and some parts that might even be too long, but it is really well written and they had their benefits. One is obviously to flesh out the two main characters better as a character, but also to hype out the eventual meeting of Regan and Aldo since they're the main romance in the story after all. And their initial meeting in the museum is just amazing, since we slightly know more about this character than the usual romance. When they meet, their encounter and how they interact at the start of their story is much more believable. It also helped that we got his and her version of how they warmed themselves into each other's minds, so we as the reader get to know first how much these people meant to each other. It was more like there was a sliver of space between him and the outside world, and she had unassumingly filled it, less like a piece splitting into the vacancy of another, and more like liquid being poured into a cup. He stuck in her brain a little bit, embedding himself there like a thorn, like something on the tip of her tongue or hovering just at the edge of her periphery. She half expected him to be inside every room she entered, or to be the footstep just behind her on every set of stairs. She kept turning him over and over, analyzing the angles she could see and wondering what else she might have missed. But despite their initial meeting, while there are curiosity and spark, they are still strangers to each other. So Aldo suggested for them to have 6 conversations, 6 real conversations where each conversation they need to learn something from each other. There is an ease to how they build their chemistry and how they become closer to each other. And it's really cute how much they try to stretch this initial conversation by making sure that some of them does not count into the 6 real conversation because of reasons. And from here, we even see how they grew to become obsessed with each other. And again, his point of view and her point of view really help solidify their obsession to us. He wasn't just unconventionally handsome, she realized. He was uncommonly beautiful. What did you learn, he asked neutrally? That I could study you for a lifetime, carrying all of your peculiarities and discretions in the webs of my spidery palms and still feel empty-handed. It frustrated him immensely that he would never be able to prove that time didn't stop when she met his eye. There is an interesting storytelling at the start, where it feels like some sort of script at times where settings are narrated. There was even some kind of fourth wall break in the narrative, but it's really short and it never takes you out of the story. I think it's a really refreshing take on describing the world that the characters inhabited. It helps that the author is also aware that it is just a gimmick and the narration didn't overstay their welcome, because after part 1 of the book they're gone. It's really fun reading them while they lasted, especially since I just recently finished Jane Eyre, which had those classic long descriptions for almost everything. Romance also often doesn't work for me because not only are the characters not well fleshed out, and often the chemistry between the characters, especially the two main lead, feels really forced, like pieces of puzzle that are not supposed to be pieced together. And as a result, I don't really care about the will they won't they aspect of the story since I don't care about these characters. But we know about Regan and Aldo from before they met and after they met. They so seamlessly seem to belong together. The will they won't they aspect of the story is actually frustrating because we as the reader hope for the best for these characters. I mean, listen to this line. I let you go, hear the sound of him rising to his feet. That old reflex never died. The little pang of don't go, just stay. Settle over me like the tide, cover me like a blanket, wrap me around like the sun. Don't go, don't go, don't go. Okay, she said. See you in the morning, Aldo. You can feel the frustration of the characters for the things they said and the things they did not say. And it's harder for our two main leads to be together since they've both been on their own path to self-destruction in their own way. Aldo with his mad that goes nowhere, and Regan never living a life that she actually wanted. And both of them having people in their life that keeps affirming to them how broken they are as a person, both in a manipulative and vile kind of way, and in a twisted loving way. But in order for them to head to a direction where they end up together, there are things that they first need to deal with. And once they did, what happens when two people who are insecure about their place in the world smash into each other? Are they going to crumble from the weight of having to support each other's brokenness, or will they survive themselves? But either way, something will change because they've met. The writing is amazing. This is quite possibly one of the most beautiful written romance I've ever read. It makes me want to try to make words sound more pretty, even with the limited skill I have over it. I kinda got overboard with trying to put all the quotes because of how good they are. In fact, I want to give more quotes just because there are so much of them that I really like. Resentment seemed a pointless task, and was, like most things, far too much effort to conjure. When you learn a new word, you suddenly see it everywhere. The mind comforts itself by believing this to be a coincidence, but it isn't. It's ignorance falling away. Your future self will always see what your present self is blind to. This is the problem with mortality, which is in fact a problem with time. The thing about woman and clothes was, in Regan's mind, that nothing was ever a permanent expression. It wasn't any sort of commitment to being this type of girl or that one, but purely today, I am. It was just whichever version of herself she wanted to project for the time being. We map things, she said, and chart things, observing and modeling and predicting. Because we have no other choice, and this is the language we have agreed collectively to use. Because we have agreed collectively that to proceed without knowledge or understanding is a stupid kind of bravery, an impulsive kind of blindness. But that to be alone without wonder or curiosity is to chip away any possible value we might discover in existing. Well, there are some elements that are similar to the kind of story that is I can fix her or I can fix him. This is not that kind of story. It's a beautiful story of broken people taking risks and giving themselves up to trust other people and learn how to be that vulnerable. It's definitely one of the best romance I've read. I give this a 4.75. What do you think? Are you gonna read it? Did I miss anything? Leave your thoughts in the comment below and subscribe to the channel. That's about it.